let's jump into the game. I just can't wait anymore.
Get out, Sean. Grr. All right, okay. We have Mr. Lucifron going to be spawning up in the top right-hand corner here as our blue Terran. Still sticking with the previous colors. And spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner, we have Western Wolves Sting as our red Terran. And these guys, technically speaking, when you think about them, when you think about their jerseys, Sting should be playing blue and Lucifron should be playing red.
So much anger, players. I never knew. You always seem so nice and...
I know, man. I get like angry at the weirdest things.
Yeah, I guess so.
Colors, grr.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Everyone has their things they're funny about.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Cheers.
Well, all right. I want to see gas first here from Sting. I want to see it. I want to see it from Lucifron, too, actually. I want to see 2 gas first builds. I want to see that thing we sometimes see where both people have cloak banshees in each other's base and all the SCVs are dead. And it's like, do I scan or do I drop a mule? Like, does this even...
Yeah, I get you. That's pretty annoying. You're right. I also would have loved to have seen the gas first from both of these players because it... Again, Lucifron on this map for Banshee harassment's pretty darn formidable, but both of them are just going to be going for that barracks first to kick things off here. Walling off as well, making sure that... I mean, this wall off just in general is important because you don't really want your opponent to suddenly go for really, really quick Hellions and you having no wall off to really deal with that. That's very, very irritating if they just start running up in your base.
Indeed it is. No gas yet from either player, so it looks like it's just going to be 1 Rax expands, which is all fine and well. That's something that I feel like favors Lucifron slightly over Sting here. But what will Sting's follow-up be? Because when he did this opening on Ohana, you know, he went in for that 5 Raxes, 2 Fax on 2 base. And try to get Lucifron. But I feel like, once again, a move like that isn't going to work. So is he going to tech up very quickly into Banshees? Is he going to go Super Marine heavy, maybe take a quicker third? I think both those actually are styles ways to play that could fit his style, but are still like good ways to play, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it's hard to get those kind of stylized aspects into your play sometimes because there's points where it's so stylized to the point where it just gets crushed by the norm, but you know there's some players that it can really, really work it in, and Lucifron is kind of one of those guys. Sting, meanwhile, he's one of those guys with the aggression.
Yeah.
Makes it work out really nicely.
Yeah. All right, well, everything on the production tab exactly the same except Lucifron now throwing up a barracks.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just giggling. I'm sort of regretting that Zoolander reference now because somebody's going to screen cap me like pouting at the camera and it's just going to look super weird. Like, oh, God.
There's a good chance of that.
Oh.
There's a good chance of that.
There's been some good screen caps this week, actually.
Yeah, there was a pretty interesting one of you and I.
Yeah, and my mum decided to put her as cover picture on Facebook. Thanks, Mum.
That's a cool mom.
She's a bit weird in that regard, but I didn't ever expect her to pick that picture as a cover picture, but there you go. There you go.
Well, she's very proud of you, Claris.
Oh, bless her. All right, okay. What do we have going on? We have expansion on the way. Gas is going down for Sting. Meanwhile, barracks on the way.
It's actually the exact same thing from both players here.
Yeah.
Double gas, triple racks, command center's finishing, marine production starting. It's the same as you can get. The same.
We're going to have to see right now how both players are going to want to play it out. I like Daybreak in the form of it's a great map for harassment. There's a lot of airspace to really start exploiting your opponent at the extremities of their bases, but also it provides... God, I love Daybreak. I mean, I could talk about this map for so long with the way in which the architecture works out, because there's also the huge split map scenarios as well, and TVT is no different to that, because there's those 3 paths that if you control, you have firm grasp on the mid to late game.
Yeah, it is very true. But you know, sometimes that does make for some stale-matey situations, and for that reason, you know, we talked about it throughout the weekend a little bit so far. I feel like again, Daybreak is a map that eventually we're going to be like, thank God we no longer play on that map. Because
you said, I remember.
We're starting to see where it's like, well, I mean, how many chokes should you be able to hold with a base, you know? And that, I feel like, will play well for Lucifron. Even though Lucifron, some of that postures a lot, moves around the map a lot, if it gets that long, you know, that's going to be really hard for Sting to get around and do any damage because he's really mobile. He attacks a lot. He doesn't posture a lot. He attacks a lot.
Yeah, he really does. It's actually a really big conflict in styles here. Yeah. Lucifron's the one that's constantly going for that posturing, constantly saying, I am here to threaten you, but there's always the possibility that I'm just going to sit around. I'm not actually going to push in. And you're having to deal with this. I'm going to find that siege tank location to really hunker down and really make it hard for you to keep up economically.
Yeah. Well, you know, an interesting difference in tech paths here. Sting actually got a really quick +1 attack, and that's slowed down his factory quite a bit. So he's going to have a much slower set of medevacs, but Lucifron's going to have that much quicker, but a much slower +1 attack. It's, you know, they're both going towards the same thing, but of course, slightly different routes here.
Yeah, it's looking like, I mean, it's funny because actually looking at the units counting station and looking at how what's in production right now, it's been so mirrored up until this point. There's been, you know, that slight delay on the starport or whatever from the side of Sting even. God, the colors keep searching and it keeps like throwing me off for just a second. But in essence, these guys are just doing pretty much exactly the same. They're going to be going onto those third bases very quickly. Lucifron already grabbing his, and I won't be surprised if we actually see Sting taking his very soon as well.
Yeah, I think he's going to take his pretty soon, but I also think he's setting up a little timing attack here. I think that he's going to move out with the first 2 medevacs and see if he can get damage done because he's going to have that +1. But Lucifron's +1, it's not like he was a slouch on it. You know, it's coming along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure that he's actually going to find the timing he may be looking for.
Lucifron now just moving out into the middle of the map for his opponent, trying to find a little bit of a location to, once again, start that poisoning, and also try and scout out his opponent's third base. Because with that 1 Marine, if he sees that his opponent doesn't have a third, whilst he's taking his third, Lucifron feels not only, I would say, comfortably economically, but also to the point where he's like, well, you know, I'm going to sit around here, wait until you actually go for that, and if by chance, it puts him in a more defensive mindset, right? As soon as you have that third command center down and you see your opponent doesn't, he knows that as long as he keeps his defense up and running, he's okay.
Yeah. Well, Sting is moving out with those medevacs now. He has started that third command center quite a bit later than Lucifron, unfortunately for him. And we do have him starting siege mode as well. Nothing too exciting going on right now. I don't think he's going to be able to run in and do a snipe or something, but, well, you know what?
He's way
You know what?
He
might actually hit this. He might be able to snipe this.
Autosis.
Oh, down comes Lucifron. Lucifron felt something weird happening and just barely not being able to snipe it. And in fact, he's going to sit and fight more medevacs for Lucifron, but that, I guess, you know, just more Marines for Sting here.
So many Marines berating all of the Marines of Lucifron, and right now going to take out the orbital command as well if they want to. They can actually just going to go for the Marines here. And actually, what? No. This can't happen.
Wow.
No.
Sting just focusing a little bit more heavily on his Marines, getting that quick attack upgrade. I mean, Lucifron got that too, but the extra Marines proved to be everything, and he's just taking a solid lead with this.
Wow. There was a point during all of that I was like, is Lucifron going to kill all these Marines? Is he going to let that command center live? Is he going to try and focus it down with the last few Marines if he has them? But no, Sting just still prevailed. You're right. The amount of Marines there, just very, very lucrative there for Sting. And right now taking that around almost, you know, a 15 supply lead. Not too bad a position here for Sting at all.
Yeah, it seriously is not. Well, Lucifron is moving out, and, you know, he's still got a good amount of Marines. It's a little bit less than Sting's, but he might be able to find a way to maneuver himself around and get something done with these. We'll have to see. But Sting didn't build his command center over at his third or anything like that. Oh, wait a minute. I thought there was a flank going. I'm like, what? How did that happen? Anyways, you know, it's looking really good for Sting. Like, the supply difference, the fact that he has his third command center, he needs to get it over there, though, and actually start mining, or it's not going to make as big a difference as it could have.
Yeah, very true. Lucifron for now. It's just still adding on more infrastructure. He's got his third command center, still producing here. Setting an SCV down there. I was under the impression he might even go for a fourth command center, but still, Sting... I mean, Sting has all the cards in his hands right now, I feel. Sting has a nice, strong army. He actually has... 1 or 2 more SCVs than Lucifron, which is something that actually hasn't occurred too often at the earlier stages in the series thus far.
That's true. Now, of course, he did kill off a few of Lucifron's SCVs there. But right now we do have Lucifron actually adding a couple more facts, so he's going to go really heavily into siege tanks, and not a bad idea because, again, you know, this is one of those situations where it's likely going to take him a little bit to get back into a possible lead, a possible winning position. But he does have a pretty big drop actually headed over. We'll see if that does anything.
Yeah, double medevac drops can be absolutely brutal if the opponent's army is way out of position. But right now, actually, Sting just going for a push once again here. He's trying to constrict his opponent's third base so heavily. And oh no, the orbital command still just goes on the move command and actually dies off very rapidly there. Sting getting himself a nice little victory, but still, Lucifron putting on some pressure in his opponent's main, killing off what he can.
He needs to lift that command center so his Marines can all fire. Looks like he will hold, and Sting pushes forward. GG, well played. Whoa,
oh my
sudden.
God.
And Sting on his Western Wolves debut, breaking through, man. He just took out Lucifron 3-2. That's a solid victory right there.
That is a solid victory. And you know, it was solid games as well.
I thought Lucifron can only lose to Vortex. What's going on?
Yeah, they were anticipated to meet in the round of 4, but now Sting has somehow broke the universe.
He broke the universe, man.
I don't know how, what, who, where?
Yeah. Well, he's gone over for the handshake, you know, Lucifron. He had really good play in the series. It's just, you know, I feel like in that last game, Sting just focusing on those Marines, that kind of caught Lucifron off guard. You know, he was already out there with his third base and didn't realize that, oh, this is just, you know, he has just enough more Marines that it tips the scales hugely in his favor.
Yeah, well, that's Lucifron done and dusted for the tournament. He goes out in 8th to 12th place.